Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Intelligence Racing League, round 19 of the championship. We're almost at the end of the season already. That's completely flown by. But yeah, welcome to the United States Grand Prix. I'm Car Mentalist, otherwise known as Aidan Carter. I will be your commentator for this evening. Alongside me commentating today is the old staple, Ivor Bryn. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Looking forward to what should be a very interesting race.
Yeah,
We're going into this
absolutely.
for the championship.
Yeah, definitely. As Ivor says, we've got a championship battle on our hands, and today it is very possible that we'll be crowning our first champion today. So currently, at the moment, McCrew has a 54-point lead in the championship. Obviously, two races to go after this event. Going into to win the championship at this event, McCrew needs a 53-point lead going into the next event in Brazil. And he's on 54 points at the moment. So all McCrew needs to do to win the championship in this event is outscore Callum. That's all he needs to do to win the championship in the USA. For Callum, he needs to outscore McCrew by at least 2 points to take the championship onto Brazil. But still, that is a tall order. 52 points. He'd have to win both races and get fastest lap to even be level on points with McCrew. So Callum's going to have to hope for a pretty a good result compared to McCrew today. How do you see this race going?
Well, as you said, Callum needs an absolute miracle right now, and the only way I can see Callum catching up is if McCrew somehow DNFs or something happens in the race which drops him all the way to the back of the grid. That's the only way I can see Callum closing up.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. I probably agree with that one. Yeah. I was just having a look actually at the results from last time out in Mexico. So obviously Mexico was quite an interesting race. It was a real mix of strategies. Spa-Holt kind of really had the pace in that race to win the race, but a late safety car kind of threw a spanner in the works, and McCrew ended up winning in Mexico in the end. Ahead of Spa-Holt in second and Callum in third, who came from, I believe, P9 on the grid. So it was a real mix on the podium. But yeah, McCrew again on top in Mexico. So he's on really, really good form at the moment. So Callum's really going to have to pull something out the bag.
yeah, and it is just a really tall down. I like to apologise to Spa-Holt because I literally called it in the chat seconds before that actually happened,
Hmm.
saying that a safety car would spice this race up, and 2 seconds later, a safety car gets deployed. So I apologise to Spa-Holt, but
The curse arrived in that one. Yeah, that was a real late safety car as well. It was a very the race up until that point had been, I'm not going to say uneventful, but it'd been quite tame.
it
It'd been quite,
stagnated.
yeah. It kind of leveled out really. It'd been quite a tame race up until that point, and yeah, that blew everything wide open. So yeah, hopefully a bit more of the same kind of action today in the USA. What are your feelings on this track? I think I have a guess of what your feelings are, but how do you feel about the
I
Circuit of the Americas?
it's such a it's one of those tracks where you're going to see a lot of 3 second time penalties.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
that sector one is, if you just get one part of it wrong, you're losing so much time, or you're going to get a warning.
Yeah,
And around here, you're coming off the back of the sector one, you got a little straight coming down then to kind of like the hairpin corner, then DRS.
mm,
And if you mess up sector one, you got someone behind you, it's almost a guarantee he's getting past you with DRS on that straight.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think like you say, it is a real track that tests track limits and things like that, and that will be quite present today. I think it was very present in Mexico last time out as well. That's a real Achilles heel of tracks like this is time penalties. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see who can make the most of that today. But we're just about ready to go. So let's see what the weather brings, especially for qualifying in the race, and then let's see who comes out on top in qualifying.
Never Another thing in that, we do have the infamous gust of wind corner, so it might be a bit breezy out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine it will be. Mhm. Brilliant. Then let's have a look and see exactly what the weather will look like. Send in your predictions in the chat of what you think qualifying the race is going to look like. Let us know, yeah, exactly what you think is going to happen today. Let us know your predictions.
Well, what are your predictions for this race then, Eden?
Well, I think. Oh, this is going to be difficult. Qualifying wise, I think.
Oh, hang on, we got some rain
Oh,
dropping down.
wow. Okay. Well, here we go. It's a bit of a spanner thrown into the works. Let's have a look and see whether this rain is going to continue throughout the session, whether it's going to get worse or whether it's going to improve, because it might be a rush out of the pit lane, or it may be kind of people waiting
Yeah,
for the best conditions at the end. But I think
it
after
doesn't
looking
look
at
like it
this,
does, does it?
not at the moment, no, it does look like the rain is spitting, but it's definitely not wet enough at this point for intermediate tyres, and no one's on the inters at the moment by the looks of things. Just seeing what people are selecting in the pit lane. Pretty much everyone, apart from Daniel and 55 Max, are on the mediums. They're on the mediums. Everyone else is on the softs. So let's see who the first out. It's the 2 racing points of the first people out onto the track. So it's going to be Sparholt, the last week's pole sitter. It's going to be the first one onto the track today. So he has gone out on the softs, so it's not wet enough as of yet for people to put the
I
inters on.
think I think this is a very smart decision from Spa. Get out there quick, 'cause if it's getting worse throughout the session, you
Yeah.
really want to get the best conditions possible.
Absolutely, you want to be out there as soon as possible if it is going to continue, if the weather's going to continue to fall. Yeah, you kind of want to get a time in on the dry tyres as quickly as possible in case it, like you say, it does end up being too wet for them. Just on board with Sparholt though, he is all over the place on this warm-up lap. You can definitely tell the grip is very, very low.
I was just on board with him as well. A little snap of oversteer then.
Yeah.
That's going to be an issue for some of these guys, especially if they're running no traction control.
Absolutely, I think this is going to be a real test of people's wet weather driving skills. We've also got one of the Toro Rossos as one of the first people at the pit lane. I think that might be Ghosts. It is, yeah, so that's another person to keep an eye out for. He's relatively fast as well. He's definitely on for a shot of a possible pole position today. But yeah, we'll stay on board with Sparholt. He'll be the first person to start a lap, so we'll see what he can do in these conditions. We have got one person out on the intermediates. We've got 55 Max in the Haas. He's on the intermediate, so he's gone for something completely different. So we're kind of in that crossover point. It's definitely going to be interesting to see which is the better strategy at this point, to see who's going to get the best time out of the gate, pretty much.
Well, here we go. Sparholt's about to cross the line to start his flying lap. He gets a little bit out of shape though at the final corner.
Yeah, a little bit offline as well. I think he tried to get a bit more traction in the kind of more go-karting line. He goes into turn 1, very ginger on the brakes, as you can imagine. He's not pushing it too hard in a higher gear as well, trying to get the best traction out the corner. So he comes into the S section. This is probably going to be the most difficult part of the track to master in these conditions. We have got a yellow flag. All Sparholt's off the track. He doesn't invalidate. I think he was able to back off a bit, and that's helped his time out a bit, but he's a little bit all over the place at this point, as you can expect. I think it's one of the Alfa Romeos that spun in the final sector, so they weren't actually on a lap. Sparholt, a little bit of curb on the exit of the corner, not too bad. Again, early on the brakes for the hairpin. Keeps it in second gear, and then short shifts up to third to try and get the best traction out of the corner. Down the DRS straight, let's see what he can do. Kind of a moment to gather back up. We've got one of the Renaults off the track now in the same place as the Alfa Romeo, so I think people are definitely struggling at this point to try and find the grip. Early on the brakes again for Sparholt. He almost runs wide, manages to get the car stopped just before they exit the corner, and he's purple through the middle sector, but by the looks of things, Ghost behind him is faster at this point. So he comes into the final sector of the track, the slowest sector of the track, definitely. He comes through the cambered corner, nice and neat. And now into the long right-hander, very reminiscent of Istanbul and Turkey. Keeps it nice and tight to the inside of the track, nice and neat. He's not overly pushing the car, he's trying to be as nice and neat as possible as he comes up to the last corner. Takes a lot of entry curb. Nice and neat on the exit as well, stays in third gear, and he crosses the line. It's a 42.3 as the first lap, and Ghost immediately goes 7/10 of a second quicker on a 41.6. Wow.
I also noticed that Max on those Indus spun it in the S's, so maybe it is too early for the Indus.
Yeah, by the looks of things, he's definitely struggling. I think he's either too early or the wet weather's passed and it's drying up. So it's going to be interesting to see if the times come down. Got a
I'm
Red
on
Bull
board
coming
with
onto
him.
the
I'm
line.
not seeing any spray coming off those tyres.
No,
And
McCrue's
McCrue's retired.
McCrue's retired from the session. He just crossed the line and did a 42.5. Did he spin across the start-finish line? I think he may have spun across the start-finish line and possibly hit one of the walls by the looks of things.
Yeah, it looks like it. I was just on board with his teammate then. As
Wow.
he is stationary on the pitch straight.
Oh my word. So there you go. Championship leader already out of qualifying on a 42.5 and is already almost a second off the current pole position time. So McCrue is going to have to get some overtaking done in this race. That's going to really liven things up now that the championship leader is out of the session this early. So we've got Toxic. He goes fastest on a 40.9, so he's now 0.7 of a second clear at the top of the field. Brilliant lap time.
I'm also going to point out that Callum hasn't actually left the pit lane yet.
Oh,
So
I
if
see.
this
Yeah.
weather gets worst, he's going to be in a real tough spot.
Absolutely. Is this more of an indication, though, that he thinks that the weather's going to be better and he doesn't think that it's worth being out on track at this point in time if it's going to dry up? Does he think it's better to stay in the pits and wait for the better weather at the end of the session? I think him and a lot of people are doing the same. So Aquaplaning, Danny, Nils, Callum, Supergamer, Dylan and Jay Luke all haven't left the pit lane yet.
I'm just looking at Max once again, who's lost it in the S's, and there's just no spray coming off those
intermediate tyres, no.
tyres.
No, he's definitely struggling at this point. And definitely, like you said, I think the Inters aren't the right tyre at this point in time. He's definitely not getting the best out of them. It's a shame he hasn't... Oh, you can see as well, he's out of control almost in these corners. He's driving so gingerly. I think his tyres, obviously they would have been overheating as well, but that is all over the place for him.
Yeah, that's usually a good sign when it comes to judging Inters and dry crossover. If your dry tyres are not heating up, you know it's time to chuck on the Inters, and
Yeah.
if your Inters are overheating, it's time for dries.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think by the looks of things, the Inters are definitely overheating at this point, so the dry tyres look like the better one. We're on board with ILRT Matty. He's definitely a pole position contender, as I believe he just had Hypes jump up the field. Yeah, he's jumped into P3, so good lap from him. I think Matty's definitely a strong contender for pole position, as he sets a purple first sector, actually, as I say that, so good first sector for Matty.
Is this a sign of track evolution?
By the looks of it, he definitely is more... He does look a little bit more in control than when we were on board with Sparholt. Sparholt currently sits P4 at the moment. Behind Matty, we've got Kieran as well. He's also on a lap. He managed to score in the points last time out, even though he finished outside the top 10 at the end of the race. He was penalty-free in Mexico. So look out for him to do the same thing today in the USA if penalties are definitely a key feature of this race. Just going to stay on board with Matty for the time being. You can definitely see he's already far more confident than others around him. And a purple middle sector to go with that as well. Yeah, he does look fast so far in this house. The track is definitely evolving at this point. We've had one of the Alfa Romeo spin at the end of the first sector. Not quite sure who that is. I think that's going to be Fergal by the looks of things that spun. Yeah.
It's going to be a good time from Matty as long as he keeps it together in the
Yeah.
final two corners. Bit of drifting though.
As you say that though, yeah, a little bit too hot into the penultimate corner, into the last corner. Still looks like it's a good lap, so let's see what his first run is. And it's a 41.8, so he goes into P4. So, bit of a poor last sector. Hypes has also spun in the third sector by the looks of things as well. Just a shame for him. But yeah, Matty pops into P4, so definitely the last sector affected him a little bit on that lap. He definitely lost a lot of time in the last sector, but you can definitely tell that the dries are starting to improve a little bit more now. People are getting a little bit more confident.
Yeah, and it might just be my eye, but I'm starting to see less rain droplets coming down on my screen, so maybe it is going to clear up.
Yeah, it does look like that. It does look like the rain has eased ever so slightly. I think it's going to be possibly one of those sessions where it pretty much rains throughout the entire session, and then you just have to be kind of in the right place at the right time. But definitely by the looks of things, it's the last one out there is going to have the best track conditions at the moment. See if anyone's on a lap at this point in time. Matty's obviously backed off after his first run. Kieran's invalidated on his second lap as well, so he's not currently on a lap.
We do have Sparhold on his out lap, so I'm interested to see if he's got more control over it this time round.
Absolutely. I'm
And
just going to go on board with
does look,
aquaplaning.
does look to be a lot more in control of his car this time around.
Brilliant. That's brilliant to see. So definitely more pace to come. The rain is
And the
definitely
rain
easing up at
stopped.
this point. Yeah, it's definitely easing up. There's just a few drops, but it's, as you say that, there goes the rain. The rain has stopped. So now it's a case of how the track conditions are going to improve over the next 7 or 8 minutes or so, and see who gets the best time. Aquaplaning through the first sector. Brilliant first sector from aquaplaning. Let's see what he can do in the second part of the lap as well. He's a little bit sideways over the top of the hill, but not too bad. Obviously wants to try and get a banker lap in as well, just that he can get up the field. So we've got Callum is now out of the pit lane as well in the Mercedes. So second place in the championship. He's got a really good opportunity to make some ground on McCrew in qualifying here. Obviously McCrew out of the session, the only one out of the session so far.
Oh, losing
Oof.
the back end there on his outlap.
Wow. To say that one of the Alfa Romeos is slow again in the last sector.
That's Daniel getting out of the way of Spa-Hold.
Ah, there we go. That's brilliant. I think Daniel's also on an outlap by the looks of things. He wants to maybe cool his tyres down. Here comes aquaplaning then through the last sector. Through the long right hand there. Keeps it flat through the corner. A little bit wide, but not too much time lost than that. Into the penultimate corner. Yeah, much more speed through that corner than when we were all with Matty. Into the last corner. That's just going to pop him right to the front of the field. What's the time going to be? It's a 36.5. Yeah, the track is massively improving. He's almost 5 seconds clear. He's over 5 seconds clear at the top of the field. So aquaplaning off to a great start. So let's see how the times roll in now. It's going to be a bit of chaos as everyone starts to improve.
Yep, and this is really going to hurt McCrew because he's definitely going to be at the back of the grid now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Track trying.
Yeah, unless anyone else makes a mistake, I think McCrew's going to be starting this race in last position at the moment. Spa-Holt was 2.1 seconds up in the first sector alone, so he's had a brilliant first sector. Let's see how far he is up in the second part of the lap. I think we're going to go over with Callum as well. I think Callum's coming towards the end of his lap. Oh no, he's in the middle sector. It's Dylan that's starting his out, is just finishing his out lap.
In sector 1 and 2 at the
yeah.
moment,
Oh,
so
he's just invalidated though. Oh, he runs over the white line at the start of the third sector, and he's invalidated his run. So he's going to have to come in and put a new set of softs on and go for another run. So that's going to be interesting to see at the end of the session what he can do. But yellow flag in sector 1. That's Kieran moving out of the way.
Daniel coming up to the line now, see what he can do at the final corner, and
he crosses the line and he goes fast as a 33.8, so the track continues to improve. Brilliant, we're on board with Callum now. He's coming through the last sector. Let's see where this puts him. He wants to be as far up the field as he possibly can to try and gain as many points on McCrew as possible. Here he goes then into the last corner. And across the line, and he's on pole with 32.8, so he's a second clear at the front, but the track is still improving at this point, so I wouldn't expect him to stay there for very long. One of the Hasses just come into the pit lane by the looks of things. Who else have we got on a lap? Toxic invalidated on his run, so he's going to have to go again. Hypos behind him's on a run as well, and he's 5.2 seconds up on his personal best through the middle sector, so he's on for a good run as well. Got one of the Williams coming up to the line. I think that's them starting their lap. One of the Toro Rossos coming up to the line as well. Is that Nils? Yeah, that's Nils crossing the line, starting his first run. As Patrick goes into P2 now. He's a 10th off Callum. 10th off Callum in P2, so a good run from PMP Patrick. See Hypers.
Hypes now.
Yeah.
The final corner across the line.
32.7. Yeah, half a 10th clear, so it's still really close. Last time out, the top 4 were covered by a 10th of a second in qualifying, so it was very close in Mexico. It looks like we might be having more of the same here. Got Kieran starting a lap. Who else are we going to go on board with? Is anyone else improving? Well, it looks like things. The only people on laps at the moment are the people that haven't actually set a lap time in the session yet. Super Gamer coming up to the line. He comes on the last corner. He's a little bit wide of the apex. Comes around and across the line, and he's on a 31.8. Brilliant lap from Super Gamer, a second clear up front. So the track continues to improve. What's we got on the lap?
Kieran setting a purple first sector.
Oh, Kieran on a good first sector then. Yeah, 3 seconds up. Wow, on his personal best. We've got one of the Williams coming up to the line. Is that Jay Luke? I believe it is. See how his lap time compares to those around.
We've got his teammate behind him as well, Tufi Danny.
And Jay Luke crosses the line, goes second on the 32.6. Here comes his Williams teammate to cross the line, and he goes into P6 on the 32.9. And then Niels, I believe, coming up to cross the line. And he goes 7th on the 33.2. No one able to get close to Super Gamer as of yet. He's still 8/10 out in front, so he's had a brilliant run. We've got Hypers. Is he on another lap? No, he's coming into the pit lane. Oh, and he's overcooked it. Oh, and he's crashed into the end of the entrance of the pit lane.
Oh, no.
Oh, and Hypes he's not going to get another one in, unfortunately, after that. That's just overcooked it coming into the pit lane and run into the...
Oh, and Kieran's just invalidated on the penultimate corner.
Oh, that's such a shame. He was on for a good lap as well. And he's coming to the pits, rightfully so. I think he's going to put another set of softs on and go again. He knows what his pace is, so smart from him.
One person who seems to be struggling right now is Max. He can't seem to get a lap on the board at the moment.
No, he has invalidated on this one as well, so he's not going to have enough time to come in and put another set of softs on, so he's going to have to go again on another lap, and that will be his third lap by the looks of things on the softs, and that's going to be his only real chance of getting a qualifying time in. We still have a number of people who are... We have almost half the grid who are yet to improve on their wet runs, so we've still got a number of people to come into this one yet. We've also got Dylan, who hasn't set a lap time yet, so a number of people still yet to improve.
I'm on board with Toxic right now. He's just started his flying lap. Toxic being a good contender for pole position here, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Toxic does have very, very good pace. Let's see what he can do. He invalidated on his previous soft run, so let's see if he manages to keep within the white lines this time round. Through the first sector, keeps it flat into 6th gear. Little bit wide there, but not too bad. Good first sector as well. 24.8. He's 2.1 seconds up on his best. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Does he just see someone retire from the session? That's Max, yeah.
Yeah, Super Gamer.
Super Gamer as well. So Super Gamer can't improve on his time, and Max unfortunately can't improve on his, and he's going to be starting last. So that's saved McCrew one position at this point. If everyone else is just coming around to start their laps by the looks of things. Stay on board with Toxic down to the end of the second sector.
He is going to have just a little bit of traffic up ahead. Hopefully it doesn't
get held,
hinder him at all, but...
Yeah, it looks like it might be Patrick by the looks of things, who's on the outlap in front of him, I think. Unless that's Patrick coming up to start his lap now, maybe. No, that is
Toxic
Patrick
has gone purple in sector 1 and 2, so this could be...
Provisional pole. Nice and neat. Keeps it a nice and wide line into the last corner. Here he comes out the last corner. What's the lap time? It's a 31.1. He goes 7/10 of a second clear at the front of the field. Brilliant time from Toxic. Can anyone get close to that? On board with Callum, by the looks of things, Dylan's made a mistake on his lap, so he's not improving. So that's another person who hasn't set a lap time in this session. Yeah, he's backed off completely. On board with Callum now, and he's set a purple middle sector. He's a second up on his time. So at the moment, this will put him in a net P2.
To be honest, I think Callum will take a net P2 at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. With McCrew, at the moment, looking like he's on for a P17 by the looks of things.
No way, with a 31.5.
Ghost into second position. Brilliant lap from Ghosts. And we've got Sashiani's into P5. Daniel goes P4 on a 32.1. Here comes Callum up to the line. And he goes P3 on a 31.6, which is still a good position for Callum. P3 at the front of the grid. We've got Yer MK into 7th, and he's on a 32.3. Who else we got coming up to the line? Dylan, unfortunately, didn't get to start a lap, so he's at the back of the field without having set a lap time.
And Kieran as well, unable to improve on his Indus run. Wet...
Sparholt
Dry
across the line.
wet track challenge.
Yeah, Sparholt only P5 in the end, so he can't beat his pole time. He can't match a pole position from last time out. Here comes his teammate. He looks like he's going to be the last person to set a lap time. And Patrick, I believe, ends that session in P11. He does, yeah. And that's the end of qualifying then. So it's Toxic on pole by about 0.4 of a second clear of Ghosts, and then Callum in P3, just a tenth further back from that. Brilliant. Then here we
It's
are.
a very tight grid from P2 all the way down to P10. Actually, just over a second separating them.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant stuff. So here we go then. Let's run through the grid for you guys. So it's Toxic who takes pole position by almost 4/10 of a second over Ghosts in second. Callum takes P3 with his championship rival at the back of the grid. This brilliant opportunity for Callum to make up some points. Super Gamer 4th ahead of Sparholt in 5th, Daniel 6th, and there goes the grid. So that's as much as I could run through in that time. But yeah, so that's the top 6 for you. So that'll be interesting to see what the weather's going to be like for the race as well. Let's see what the weather's going to be like. And it looks pretty dry. Yeah. Dry and clear by the looks of things. Just wonder if it stays like that for the rest of the race. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what the strategies are now for the people outside of the top 10. Obviously, most everyone's setting their best times on the soft tyres, so the top 10 will be starting on the softs. What do you think the best strategy is around this track?
Oof. To be honest, it's been that long since I actually raced around USA, I've actually forgot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I haven't raced around USA in a while, so it's going to be difficult to.
I know it's a one stop. I can't remember whether it's. I think it's soft to hards or medium to hards.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be hard to see. I do think the softs might die quite quickly around this track just by the nature of it. But like you say, I haven't driven around this track in a while, so I don't really know the best strategy either. But obviously, everyone inside the top 10 will be on pretty similar strategies, so. Be interesting to see which one of those can
There you go. Now you got another crack to go for the grid order.
There we go then. So we've done the top 6. So 7th is Toothy Danny. YMK is in 8th position ahead of. Is that Sashayan? Yeah, I'm going to say Sashayan. In P9 in the Red Bull ahead of J Luke in 10th. And then the first person outside the top 10 is PMP Patrick in P11 ahead of Hypes, Nils, Fergal, Aquaplanning, Matty, McCrew in 17th. Kieran, Dylan and Max rounds out the grid, and by the looks of the strategies, a real mix outside the top 10. So Patrick in 11th is also starting on the softs, but his tyres will be a lot fresher than those in front of him. Hypes in P12 is on the mediums. Niels and Fergal have gone for the softs. Aquaplaning's gone for the hards, and he's the only person to do so, so he's definitely going for a one-stop, and he's going to be out front by mid-race. By the looks of things, he's going to be running very long in this first stint. Matty's also on the softs. McCrew's gone for the mediums, Kieran's gone for the softs, Dylan's gone for the mediums, and Max at the back of the grid has gone for the softs. So a real mix outside the top 10.
Yeah, and one thing I'm guessing that McCrew wouldn't want to see right in front of him is Matty on a faster compound in this early part of the race.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say there was a number of fast people actually at the back of the grid today. There's a number of fast people like Aquaplanning, Matty, McCrew, Dylan, and Hypes as well. A number of people out of position on the grid. So it's definitely going to be difficult for McCrew to make his way through the field very quickly. Obviously, we'll see how far he can get through, but this field is very, very closely matched. So he's going to have to really push to make his way through the field. So I'm going to pressure you, Ivor, for a top 3. What do you think your top 3 is going to be in this race?
Toxic, Callum and Sparholt.
There we go. A pretty safe one, I'd say. A pretty safe top 3, I'd say. I would agree with that. If I think it was going to be a normal race, but for some reason, I don't think it's going to be quite a normal race. I think we might have a little bit of a chaotic one today. So I'm going to go for Sparholt for the winner. I think he's going to make up for Mexico last time out. I think second, I'm going to go for Callum. Third, I'm going to go for Hypes in third because he's the first person on the alternate strategy. So I think we're going to have a bit of a crazy race today.
Yep, as everyone is lining up in their grid spots now, and
brilliant. Here we go then.
I've got a lovely camera angle from Codemasters, lovely view of the front wing.
Yeah, I've got a lovely view up the hill into turn 1. Here we go then. Here come the lights ahead of the drivers. Here come the 5 lights. How quickly do they go out? Bit of a long hold, and away we go. Looks like a relatively even start. One of the Alfa Romeos in the background got an incredible start by the looks of things. That was Fergal with a brilliant start. Yeah, and Super Gamer caught on the inside of the apex at turn 1. He's lost a number of positions, but Toxic out front, he's gone. Callum up to second position off the line. Sparholt up to third from 5th on the grid. He's side by side with Ghosts. Ghost takes back that P3 position. Brilliant stuff from Ghost to hold on to P3 there. We've got a spinner in the background. I think that was Dylan. He'd had a relatively good start, and he's actually spun through the S section. I don't know if there was contact in that, but that's a shame for him. Super Gamer's dropped to 6th. Is there another
Yeah,
yellow
we have
flag?
an issue with Super Gamer and MK. I don't think
Oh,
they can see
yeah.
each other.
Yeah, they are desynced by the looks of things. That's a shame. But yeah, Super Gamer had a bit of a poor start. He's dropped down to 6th at this point. But other than that, Toxic out front already by a second. He's gone. Ghost is on the back of Callum. He's going for the inside move down into the end of the second sector. Relatively evenly matched in straight line speed. Ghost goes for the inside, breaks late. Callum's going to try and go for the switch back, but he doesn't have the traction to do it. So Ghost back up into P2 after a bit of a sluggish start. He's made his way back up into P2. So good stuff from Ghost. He looks like he's going to try and catch back up to Toxic as Callum goes back down the inside. There's a little bit of contact. Ghost holds onto the position there and Callum stays in P3. So
Hypes it around. Hypes and 2v Danny making a bit of contact. Hypes with front wing damage, no?
Oh, that is such a shame for Hypes. He was the lead person on the alternate strategy, but looking through the rest of the field, Matty has made an incredible start. He's 11th already. What a start for Matty. As Toxic across the line is 1.5 seconds clear already. He's way out in front. Oh, a bit of contact.
J-Luke and Patrick.
Yeah, J-Luke, I think, got caught on the exit curb and he just slid into the side of Patrick, and that's going to let Matty through as well. As Matty is going to go for the double move. He looks for Patrick, but Patrick's going to get the better one on the exit of the corner. So Matty already into the top 10. Brilliant start from him. J-Luke's going to hold it down the inside, but he's not got the line for the S section, and Matty's through. And Fergal already with the time penalty, so the time penalty is already starting to take effect at this point.
It didn't take long, did it?
No, it definitely didn't take long at all, no. Unfortunately, we've got Nils and Dylan at the back. They've not had the best of starts. Obviously, Dylan spun. Kieran just in front of McCrew as well. Made a bit of a mistake there at the end of the first sector. So McCrew's going to be right on it.
Really pressuring Callum, and he's gone for the move.
Oh, he has, yeah.
Into the hairpin. Just before the main straight.
Yeah, Callum looks to be struggling, actually. After Ghost past him, Ghost is already 1.8 seconds up the road. So Callum's really struggling at this point. I don't know whether he's gone for more of a wet setup to maybe help him in qualifying, or whether this just isn't the track that suits him, but he's kind of been overtaken left, right and centre at this point. Super Gamer and Daniel as well, side by side. Super Gamer, so Callum a little bit sideways. Yeah, Super Gamer's going to go right around the outside of him. And Super Gamer makes it through, so Callum's now down to P5.
Daniel had a little bit of a sniff off an opportunity there. There's Dashayan, that's the way I'm going to pronounce it. We're probably going to come up with 10 different ways to pronounce it, but...
down the inside. There's a bit of contact. Is he going to hold it? Well held. Really well held from Sashayan, but he's dropped down to P11 with that. Bit of an optimistic move, but... yeah, that's a shame for Sashayan. He's still in the running, though. He's not far off the back of the top 10 still, so he's
Daniel
still got what to play for.
Around the outside of Callum at the 2-1.
Yeah. He isn't going to make the move stick, so Callum stays to P5. But like I said, yeah, Callum really struggling at this point. He's falling through the field. Super Gamer making up for his poor start. He's back up to P4, and he's just on the back of Sparholt. But look at the gap for the lead. Ghost is absolutely flying. He's caught Toxic. Toxic had an almost 2-second lead at the end of the first lap, and Ghost is within 0.5 of a second of Toxic, so Ghost definitely the faster man at this point. He's so much later on the brakes into the hairpin.
And he should be able to go for the move by ear with DRS, but
yeah,
we'll see. Maybe Toxic got some good straight line speed.
By the looks of things, Ghost is closing in. He's not quite close enough. No, he's not quite close enough to make the move. So Toxic does have good straight line speed, which will definitely help him out. But at this point,
getting past Callum.
Callum's going to go back down the inside though. Yeah, he goes back down the inside. So Daniel tried the switch back and it didn't quite work. We've got McCrew side by side with Toothy Danny by the looks of things. Yeah, he is.
Matty and Luke side by side.
Matty down the inside. Is he going to make the move stick? No, J-Luke keeps it on the outside. And J-Luke holds on to the position, so good stuff from J-Luke, well defended. But yeah, Callum is really struggling at this point. He's 1.7 seconds off the back of Super Gamer now. I think the soft tyres, especially for some people, are starting to overheat a bit, and people are starting to struggle to try and keep the temperatures down. I think Callum, and at the moment, by the looks of it, Toxic may be struggling with the same thing with tyre temperatures, because he's just not got the pace he had at the start of the race.
Daniel down the inside in turn 1, he's going to be able to get the job done this time.
No, Callum gets the better exit. And he holds on to P5. Yeah, definitely interesting
as you
to see.
said, Callum just really struggling right now, and he needs...
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he needs right now. Maybe have a little think of strategy, maybe an earlier pit stop than what he originally planned, but...
Yeah, all yellow flag somewhere. I think that's Kieran that's made a mistake at the end of the S section, but he's still going by the looks of things, so I think he's okay. Dylan picks up a time penalty as well. But yeah, Callum is starting to struggle quite a lot. Who else we got? Matty on the back of the RMK for P8. Let's double check how many positions Matty has gained at this point. He has gained another. He's gained 7 positions at the start of this race. So Matty from P16 on the grid is up to P9. Brilliant stuff from Matty. A number of other people gained places. Max from last on the grid is up to 15th. McCrew's gained 4 places up to 13th, and he's on the medium tyres. So we obviously got to look out for him later on in the race and see what he can do. He's the first person on the alternate strategy. Yeah. We've got Ghost. After that one go at Toxic, isn't quite able to make the move stick. Toxic seems to have leveled it out a little bit more now. He seems to be under a bit more control. Sparholt kind of in a race on his own at the moment.
And Callum is causing a bit of a train right now.
Yeah. Oh, we've got Kieran. Yeah, Kieran spun. I think he's also struggling with overheating tyres by the looks of things. Matty on MK into the hairpin. He's not quite close enough. So we've got a little bit of a train forming now behind Callum. It's kind of stretching back to J. Luke, who actually just made a mistake, I think, on the exit of the hairpin. So he's going to fall a little bit further back from that train. Got McCrew on the back of his teammate. It's not able to stick close, but oh, Sashayan has a massive moment. Oh, and he's into the wall. Sashayan's out of the race. Had a massive moment in the S's, just took way too much speed, started sliding and overcorrected and spun into the wall. That's such a shame. And we've got a full safety car. Yeah, so full safety car's out. Now this throws a bit of a spanner into the works. What are people on the softs going to do at this point? Do people come in and put the hards on, or do they stay out and take them a bit longer? Interesting to see. I think at this point in the race, the softs don't look that strong by the looks of things. A number of people are starting to spin. People are definitely starting to struggle to keep the temperatures down. So I think at this point we might see a number of people come into the pit lane. Let's see what the top 2 do at this point. Does Toxic and Ghost come in, or do they stay out?
This will be an interesting thing. If they were to pit right now, they might actually come out ahead of McCrew and already make their pit stop.
Absolutely, there is definitely a possibility. I think McCrew might just be safe. Ghost actually picks up a time penalty there. Toxic, I think Fake's trying to stay out, but he's come in. I don't think that fooled Ghosts. Sparholt's also in. I think pretty much everyone is into the pit lane behind them. Who's the first person to stay out? Racing points are double stacking, so they're definitely all coming in. It's going to be McCrew that's the first one out. Or has McCrew just come into the pit lane? McCrew's pitted.
Yeah, McCrew's in.
Wow. Oh, someone's picked up front wing damage in the pit lane. I didn't quite see who that was. And Hype's got a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. That's actually McCrew that has front wing damage. And McCrew's put on another set of medium tyres. That's a little bit of an odd call from McCrew, in my opinion. So, yeah, we've pretty much got the same order. Dylan's jumped up to P4. He's the only person, I believe, who did not pit, apart from Hypes. Dylan is the only person that didn't pit in that race, and he's jumped from the back of the grid and a spin on lap 1, and he's now into P4.
We've also got an interesting spread of tyre choices by you. Some going for the medium, some going for the hard.
Yeah, so the likes of Toxic and Ghost absolutely will not be able to take those mediums to the end of the race, so they're definitely on a 2-stop at this point. Sparholt, it'll be a bit of a push, and he'll have to have some good pace, but I think you can definitely take those hards to the end. So Sparholt going for the 1-stop. He's hoping for there not to be another safety car, and that his hards hold up pretty well. I think Daniel and Callum have gone for the same thing as well, as has Patrick, MK and Fergal. And then Hype's obviously pitted early on in the race for front wing damage. Yeah, McCrew, he came into the pit lane.
Forced himself into a 2-stop now.
He has, absolutely. He decided not to come in, and he's on the same set of medium tyres. He's still in 13th position, and I believe he has front wing damage that, by the looks of things, he didn't repair. So we're at a real disadvantage at this point. Just looking through the rest of the field to see who else we've got. Kieran, obviously a bit further back after his spin earlier on, so he's at the back of the field. At this point in the race, though, Ivor, what kind of strategy do you think you'd go for? Do you think you'd go and put the mediums on and go for a faster possible 2-stop, or do you think you'd risk and go for the 1-stop at this point?
I'm trying to remember whether whether or not the mediums were durable enough to go to the end. Because I remember that the softs, you couldn't take them more than like 9 laps, and from what I remember about racing around here before, you can stretch the mediums to the end.
It's definitely possible, yeah. It's going to be a real arse, though, and by the looks of things, the likes of Callum and Toxic definitely struggled on their soft tyres towards the end of the stint before the safety car came out. So it's going to be a tall order for them to stretch those mediums to the end. I think at this point the hards are definitely going. Dylan is definitely going to have to stop. He's the only person, apart from Hypes, that didn't pit, so he's absolutely got to stop again. But I imagine he's going to go for the one stop and put the hards on. So he's kind of, by not pitting and starting on the mediums, Dylan's thrown himself into the mix here. Obviously his tyres are a bit older, but we have to see what his pace is relative to the people around him and see whether he can keep pace with the likes of Ghost and Sparholt in front and hold Super Gamer and Daniel behind. So he's thrown himself into the mix by not pitting.
Yeah, this is going to be... It's going to be very interesting now, because the pace of those mediums should help the likes of Super Gamer, Matty, Ghost and Dylan for around about, I want to say, minimum 10 laps. But towards the end of the race, it depends on how good they are with their tyres, or if they go for the 2-stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've definitely, I think especially the likes of J-Luke and McCrew as well, obviously, and Matty, they've really got to make the most of these mediums at the start. I think if I were there in position, though, I don't think I'd risk taking the mediums to the end, personally. I think if I was on the mediums, I would push as much as I can and come in and put another set of tyres on and go for the 2-stop, because risking going on the mediums to the end of the race, you're risking yourself a puncture, and obviously the mediums are going to be a far worse condition than the hards at the end of the race. So that's going to be definitely going to be an interesting one to watch as the safety car's in.
We know McCrew's definitely pitting again. The question is he going to stretch those mediums so that he can just pit onto the softs?
Yeah, or does he come in and put the hards on? I imagine the softs are the way to go, but we could see how the softs degraded towards the end of their stint, so he's going to have to take those mediums quite a long way. You go though, Ghost is raring to go for this restart. He's side by side with Toxic. Toxic keeping it very slow.
Rush right now.
Yeah, keeping it very slow, waiting for the safety car to come in. I think he wants a big jump on the rest of the field before the start line. He doesn't want to go as late as possible and give people the opportunity down into turn 1. So let's see what he can do. When's he going to go? And he's gone before the penultimate corner. Kind of caught Ghost napping a little bit then, and Toxic is gone already. He's already 0.6 of a second clear, so Toxic leads us away again for the restart of this US Grand Prix. Comes up into pit straight. Ghost a little bit sideways on the exit of the last corner, and Toxic definitely safe from Ghost at this point. So good restart from Toxic ahead of his rival. Sparholt pulls P3 ahead of Dylan, and then Super Gamer in 5th.
Matty down the inside of...
Ooh!
And that was a good old dive bomb here from Matty.
And doing exactly what we said. He's using those mediums to effect as soon as possible. He's already passed one of the hard runners, and Daniel tried to go for a move on Super Gamer. Oh, Matty down the inside in the S section. Wow. He's going to go around the outside. He's not going to pull this one off, is he? Down the inside into the long right-hander. Daniel's still there.
Oh, Callum's here as well.
Oh, he pulls it off, though. Matty's through. Brilliant. And Callum's going to try and nick a place off Daniel at the same time. Down into the hairpin.
Patrick as well.
Oh, my word. A little bit of chaos here. Oh, a bit of contact between Daniel. Daniel slides and he kind of catches Patrick out. And here comes MK. Here comes the MK down the outside. He's going to take the pair of them. And Fergal's in this one as well. There's a little bit of chaos now. They're going 3 wide again into the hairpin. Daniel down the inside of MK. I think Daniel's going to get that one stopped. But yeah, Daniel dropped a lot of positions there. A little bit of an over. Ooh, is he going to go for the move? Is he going to pull it off? He's got the inside now for the double left-hander, and he makes his way through, so he's up to P9.
Oh, McCrew going for a bit of a switchback behind there. I just saw that on J-Luke.
It didn't quite work, and Max is through. Max on the mediums is through, so McCrew's actually starting to lose places at this point. He's starting to drop down the field. He's going to go around the outside. What an incredible... If he pulls this one off, that would be an incredible move. Oh, Max a little bit late on the brakes. Catches J-Luke unawares. And McCrew's going to try and go for the pair of them down into turn 1. There goes McCrew to the inside then. Is he going to pull it off? He's late on the brakes. He's got the inside line. He's going to make it stick. McCrew takes 2 places in one corner.
Look then for a second and look at that fantastic bit of traction coming up that corner there.
Yeah, almost had it back. But yeah, as Toxic picks up a time penalty. So he's first of the leaders to pick up a time penalty. That'll be interesting to see if he can build enough of a gap. Fergal in front of McCrew, really struggling on those hards. He's sliding all over the place. McCrew's up the inside. No competition there, really. McCrew has far more grip at this point in the race. Daniel's still struggling. He's dropped off the back of Callum at this point.
Just looking at the tyres right now, Dylan's actually doing very well to keep with spar hold on those quite worn mediums.
Absolutely, yeah. 5 laps already on those mediums. They are going to be going off far quicker than those around him, but he is keeping with spar hole. At this point, people on the hards are really struggling. Daniel's actually he's side by side with Patrick again, and Daniel holds on to P8. Patrick down the inside. He gets it stopped and he parks the bus and makes the move stick. Brilliant move from Patrick. He's up the inside of Daniel up to P8. So good stuff from the Racing Point man. Daniel's not really able to fight back. Toxic sets the fastest lap of the race at the 33.5. Matty picks up a time penalty now. I think we've had Hypes go round as well again at some point in that restart, so he's dropped down to 19.
He had the drive-through, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did have a drive-through, so that's why he's dropped to the backfield. Daniel back down the inside of Patrick. Ooh, he's really late. Squeezes into the outside of the corner. Daniel's back through, but look at how much they've lost to Callum. Almost 3 seconds now behind Callum in front, so there's a real split in the field at this point.
And McCrew doing well at the moment, making his way up into P10, looking to get involved in that battle with Patrick and Daniel.
Yeah, they're definitely fighting quite hard, so this is giving McCrew the chance to make his way through the field pretty easily. He passed MK into turn 1, I believe, on this lap. Doesn't have the best run, but Patrick and Daniel are going to keep fighting. Up at the front, Sparholt, the hard runners are definitely struggling at this point. Sparholt almost 4 seconds off the back of the 2 leaders now. Dylan's still within DRS range, as is Super Gamer and Matty. Yes, we've got Daniel and Patrick fighting again down into the hairpin. Patrick down the inside.
Having a look at the inside of both of them.
McCrew going for the inside. He's going to take the pair of them. Takes a very shallow line. He's done it. He's passed the pair of them. So McCrew up to 8th. Brilliant move. He is really, really flying. And the next person on McCrew's list is his champion. Oh, McCrew makes a mistake. Oh my word. That was almost a massive accident with Patrick, but he managed to get out of it and he's dropped back behind the pair of them. I was just about to say that the next person up the road for him was his championship rival, Callum. As Callum picks up a time penalty. Yeah. There goes McCrew.
I think Callum must have looked up, saw McCrew there and just completely forgot where the track was.
Yeah. So McCrew is now falling back behind them again. So here goes Patrick again on Daniel. This is a brilliant battle between these two. Down the inside goes Patrick into the hairpin. He's outbraked himself massively. Surely he's not going to get that one stopped. Yeah, and Daniel's back down the inside. Is McCrew going to go through? He is as well. So Patrick a bit over-ambitious there. He wasn't able to get the car stopped, and McCrew's through. Oh, McCrew almost went for the move on Daniel.
This is what McCrew needs now. Because all these guys, Daniel in front of him, DRS should help him get past.
Absolutely, yeah. And he needs
Medium should keep him safe into turn 1 for the next lap.
And he absolutely needed to split this battle up, because this battle was slowing him down quite a lot. He's almost 5 seconds off the back of his championship rival now. So he comes into the hairpin. Comes out of the corner. I think McCrew might be able to get this move done, although Daniel got a pretty good exit out of the hairpin, so McCrew's going to have to go for a bit of a late move. And then McCrew's got very good straight line speed. Daniel doesn't really defend it either. And McCrew's down the inside. So McCrew up to P8.
Dylan.
Oh.
Having a bit of a battle then, and
Super Gamer's there as well.
Those hearts are really not working right now.
Yeah, the hards are not working at this point, like you say. Sparholt 6 seconds off the top 2, are still separated by less than a second at this point.
Super Gamer.
Oh, Super Gamer trying for a look. Dylan's medium's starting to look a little bit worse for wear at this point. He's definitely struggling compared to Super Gamer and Matty behind him. Is Super Gamer going to go for the move into turn 1? He's got good straight line speed in that Ferrari. Does he make a dive for it? He does. Dylan leaves in the space. Ooh, a little bit of a squeeze there from Super Gamer onto the curb, but fair racing. Dylan down the inside. They're not going to go side by side for the S's. Oh, there's contact. Super
Oh!
Gamer's round and into the wall.
It was in the wall.
Oh, what a shame for Super Gamer on for a really good result. I think that was just... That's a shame, I think. And another safety car. Second safety car of the race. Wow. So that blows the strategy into the air once again. Now, do the people
that's
on
worked out perfectly for Dylan.
That has absolutely worked out perfectly. He can pit now and put the hards on and go to the end relatively easily. So, but that contact there, I'm not really sure how to kind of place the blame for that one. They were side by side going into the S section. They kind of met in the middle really. And Super Gamer came out of that one.
It's just one of those corners you don't want to be going side by side through there.
Yeah, you really don't want to be going side by side through the S section, and it's just a shame that they met in the middle, and Super Gamer unfortunately came off far worse. Dylan kind of got away with that one, but that is a real shame for Super Gamer, unfortunately. Just looking through the field though, McCrew up to 7th. Wow, he's flown through the field in this safety car restart. In the last 6 laps, he's jumped from, I believe, P13 to P7. Brilliant stuff from him. Just wondering what the hard runners do at this point, because the hards clearly are just not a strong tyre at this racetrack. Spa-Holt has dropped so much time to the top 2. Ghost's in. Wow, okay, so Toxic stays out and Ghost comes into the pit lane, so I imagine that'll be for a set of hard tyres. Let's see what he goes on to. Does people following him? Yeah, Dylan's into the pits as we'd expect, as is Matty as well. So Matty's doing a similar thing to Ghosts at this point. Is that another set of mediums?
Also another set of mediums. Actually, that's not a bad shout.
That isn't, no.
Take him 11 laps.
That isn't. Dylan's put the soft tyres on for some reason. That's a bit of an odd strategy call from Dylan. I would have expected him to go onto the hards and take those to the end. He definitely can't take those softs to the end of the race from this point onwards. But yeah, that is definitely that's a good shout though from Ghost to put the mediums on. He obviously started the race on the softs, so he can do what he wants. He picks up a time penalty though in the S section behind the safety car, so he has to stay away from those curves. But yeah, he can probably take those mediums to the end of the race at this point.
Yep, and almost all the harder runners have come in and put mediums on.
Yeah, Spa-Holt stayed out, so he's definitely sticking for the one stop at this point. Patrick, his teammate, also stayed out, so they're the only two that came in. McCrew came in and put the hards on, and he's in P9, so obviously he had to do either the hards or the softs, and the softs just can't make it to the end of the race at this point. But this is going to be a real...
jumped Callum.
He has, yeah. Callum's out of the points now. Callum's dropped to P12. He's really fallen down the field in that whole mess. I think because Dylan pitted at the same time, Callum got held behind him, so Callum's fallen through the field at this point. But we saw how people were struggling on the hards, and McCrew, every single person behind McCrew is on a new set of mediums, so McCrew's going to have to put a real defensive fight up, or he's going to plummet through the field at this point.
Yeah, it's a complete polar opposite of what
we
just
saw
had after the first safety car.
Yeah. Complete polar opposite, like you say.
Looking to make moves, now he's looking to defend for his life.
Absolutely, but at this point, the mediums could possibly make it to the end of the race, so McCrew's had a bit of a disadvantage, at least for the first maybe 8 or 9 laps of this stint, where his hards are just not going to be up to the right pace. But we saw that Dylan started to struggle on his mediums. Dylan on this restart is going to be incredibly fast on those softs, but he's going to have to pit again. There is no way he can take those softs to the end of the race.
And I don't get the strategy from Dylan right now to pit on the softs.
Yeah, unless there was some sort of problem in the pit lane. If this was an intentional strategy call, it is an odd one, because the softs just... He's going to have to pit again for maybe another set of softs, so he will be fast, but yeah, he's going to really struggle at this point. As is the likes of Toxic and Kieran. So Kieran and Toxic, the only people that stayed out on their medium tyres. Everyone else pitted. They surely can't take those mediums to the end of the race at this point. So Toxic and Kieran, both Renault drivers, are going to have to pit again. Now the problem for the likes of the Renault drivers now is that...
I'm not sure, mind.
It depends.
I think Toxic and Kieran do have a bit of a chance to take these to the end, because they pitted under the first safety car, so they've had
3 laps or so on those 2 or 3 laps of the tyres being under safety car speed, and then another 2 here. So yeah, it could be possible, but the problem is that everyone else that's on the mediums is definitely taking those to the end, and they're 7 laps younger, so they're at a real disadvantage at this point.
Yeah, but with Sparhold, there's a bit of a buffer right now between Toxic and Ghost. Maybe Toxic will be able
Yeah,
to pull that gap that we saw him pull out there.
at the start of the race, yeah.
Start.
I think this final stint is very dependent on how quickly Ghost can pass Sparholt. I think Ghost is going to have to do it relatively quickly if he wants to keep with Toxic for the start of this race. And same for Matty at this point as well. I think Matty's going to have to try and pass Kieran and Patrick relatively quickly.
Safety car is in this lap. Let's see if Sparhold reacts to Toxic quicker than what Ghost did last time around.
Yeah, looks like Toxic's going for the same strategy. He's running really, really slowly, waiting for the safety car to go in. Does he go at the same point? Here we go then. Sparholt lagging just a bit further back than Ghost did. Warming up his tyres. Toxic's gone. Wow. Toxic went much earlier this time round, and Sparholt was weaving his tyres and wasn't ready for it. Toxic spun! No way! Toxic has spun in the penultimate corner on the restart. Overcooks it and has spun out of the lead. That is a disaster for Toxic. He's P14 and out of the points, and that puts Sparholt in the lead. And Ghosts has just been gifted an absolute miracle here, so he's going to have to try and pass Sparholt relatively quickly. See what he can do. Toxic back up the inside of Niels by the looks of things, so he's gone back up into P13, but he's at a real disadvantage now. On board with Ghost, he looks far much more grip than Sparholt at this point. And look at the gap back to Patrick already, 1.5 seconds after the first sector.
And Dylan's having a bit of a look on Marty now for P5.
Goes for it. Gets it stopped. And he's through, so Dylan's up to P5, so he's trying to make as much ground as possible as quickly on those softs. He's going to go for Kieran now. What does Ghost do for the race lead? Sparholt defending. That's the second time I've seen that though on board with Ghost. He's not using his 8th gear down the straight for some bizarre reason. Always going to go for the move though. At the start of the 3rd sector, dives it down the inside, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Sparholt keeps the place. And Dylan made it past Kieran. Is he going to go for the move on Patrick? He's not quite close enough here, so... Oh, Ghost though.
Yeah,
Ghost around the outside. Oh, brilliant move from Ghost. Round the outside of Sparholt through the long right-hander, and he's through into the lead. There he goes. So Ghost makes the move stick.
Yeah, I was going to say the 8th gear thing. I think it's actually a little bit quicker to just keep it in 7th down that street.
Yeah, maybe. So that seems to be a strategy. But yeah, brilliant move from Ghost, and he's up into the lead. So now he's going to have to try and make his way forward quickly. Dylan's past Patrick for P3, so he's managed to make his way through pretty quickly. Matty and Kieran side by side. Matty's still on Kieran. So Matty now up to P5 as well. How's McCrew doing on those hards? He's not doing too badly. He's still P8 at this point. He's got MK right behind him, but McCrew not doing too badly on the hards. He's keeping relatively good pace with those around him. Dylan with the purple first sector.
Callum does look to be struggling a bit to try and pass J. Luke.
As J. Luke down the inside of YMK for P9, and he makes the move stick, and YMK makes a mistake on the exit of the corner, so Callum's going to try and go around the outside.
Oh, Toxic's there now.
Oh my word, yeah, Toxic trying to work his way through really quickly. He dropped to 14th. He's already going back into the top 10 possibly. Down the inside, really late on the brakes. Is he going to get that stopped in time? Oh, he's slammed into the side of J. Luke. I don't know how he got that car stopped, but he's made his way up. He's almost into P9. J. Luke holds the outside, Toxic on the inside. And Toxic, is he going to make the move stick? He is. So Toxic's already back up into P9 on 10 lap old mediums. Is really trying to make up for that mistake, which was such a bizarre mistake for Toxic to make. But he's back up into P9. Here comes Callum on J. Luke. He's not quite close. Oh, he's going to go for it at the last corner, though. Down the inside. Doesn't get the run off the exit of the corner, though, so J. Luke keeps P10. Whilst we're going on Matty on Patrick for P4. And he's down the inside. And nothing really Patrick can do, and I think he realised that one. I think he backed out and let Matty through, so Matty up to P4. And Dylan on the back of Sparholt for P2. That's all kicking off now in the second half of the race.
Yeah, and right now, I don't think McCrew needs to worry too much. Like, he knows Callum's behind him. All he's got to do is make sure he finishes ahead of him.
Yeah, that's all. At this point, that's all he's got to do. All he's got to do is finish ahead of Callum. Let's see, then on the exit of the corner, McCrew actually does have relatively decent pace at this point as well. He's keeping good pace with Daniel and Kieran in front of him. Obviously, Kieran's on much older tyres at this point. Toxic now up behind McCrew though. Here goes Daniel on Kieran, he's through. And McCrew's going to try and make the move stick on Kieran as well. And he does. Oh, he's on the curb, he outbrakes himself though. He's going to run wide. Kieran's back through. And Toxic's through as well. Or is he? Toxic around the outside. Gives McCrew just enough space on the inside. Yeah, a little. Oh, McCrew's round. McCrew. He's out the race. What a disaster for McCrew. The wheels are really literally fallen off his wagon in this race. A terrible qualifying, making up for it in the race, and a mistake has put him in the wall. Our championship leader out of the US Grand Prix, and Callum, with that mistake, now into the points. This is prime opportunity for Callum as we've got a virtual safety car. Oh my word, I need to catch my breath. This has been a crazy safety car restart.
And also, I would like to point this out, because we did mention it. Both Red Bulls are now out, meaning that Mercedes are going to close up big time in the constructors.
Absolutely, yeah. We didn't mention it at the start of the stream, but it's a battle between Red Bull and Mercedes for the manufacturers, and I think it's just under 30 points at this point in the championship. And obviously got Dylan up in P2 and Callum in P10, and both Red Bulls out, like you say. So prime opportunity for Merc to possibly, if they get a good result, take the lead of the manufacturers at the end of this race.
Yeah, I just had a little look then. 35 points is the gap.
Yeah, 35 points. There we go. So 48 is the maximum you can get. So they'd have to get a very good result. Oh, does he lose out time? He stays in P10. Kieran and Toxic side by side. Toxic back up to P7. Matty on the inside of outside of Sparholt. Sorry, Sparholt sends it down the inside though. Matty tries to switch back. Well read for Matty, and he's through. Brilliant stuff for Matty. He's up to P3, and Dylan had an incredible virtual safety car restart, and he's within a second of Ghosts. Right. Having a look through the rest of the field. Callum, I think, has made the move stick on J. Luke. J. Luke's still on the inside though. Callum turns in, puts a bit of faith in J. Luke, and Callum's through. So Callum's finally made the move stick on J. Luke and is up to P9. See what Callum can do about Kieran in front. Kieran obviously on much older tyres, so this should be pretty easy meet for Callum at this point. Yeah, he gets a much better exit out of the final corner. Kieran does have DRS on his teammate though. Kieran's not really going to defend it. I think smart from Kieran, he knows the battles that he's fighting. Callum down the inside, just about gets it stopped. Kieran's trying the switch back, but doesn't really have the grip for it. So Callum now up to P8. So he's definitely making his way through the field relatively quickly, trying to get as many points as possible now.
Yeah, this is a golden opportunity for Callum. Even if he doesn't make it as high up as he wants, as long as he keeps it clean with no pens.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could end up coming out of this with some lovely points.
Yeah, this definitely could blow it wide open if he's got good pace. And at the moment, Patrick is holding up Daniel and Toxic, and obviously Toxic's tyres are 7 laps older, so Callum's on for a possible very good result at this point, if he keeps it nice and neat. Touch wood, hopefully don't commentators curse him, but he's on for a possible top 5 finish at this point. Patrick and Daniel side by side. Patrick went a little bit wide on the curb, but he's just about able to keep the position. Does Daniel go all the way around the outside? He does. Daniel with a superior grip up to P5 in the Alfa Romeo, so Patrick starting to drop through the field on those old hards.
Yeah, and Sparholt losing out huge amounts of time there. Matthew just passed him just about a lap ago.
About a lap ago, and he's already 1.7 seconds off the back. Yeah, Sparholt really struggling. Toxic picks up another time penalty. And Dylan now starting to struggle on those softs. Ghost is pulling away, and Matty's catching. So at the moment, Matty, from outside of the top 10, was at P16 on the grid. Matty is currently P3. What a brilliant race this has been from Matty. He kind of flew under the radar a bit in the middle part of the race, but he is stormed to the front of the field. Brilliant stuff from him as Dylan picks up another time penalty himself as well. So Matty on for a good result here.
Right, well, looking at this for the championship, Dylan's definitely going to have to pit again.
Absolutely, there is definitely no way he can take those softs to the end of the race now. Look at the gap, 2.1 now to go. So he's had a terrible first sector. He's going to have to pit again. Does he put another set of softs on? I imagine at this point he will. Patrick and Toxic. He's through. And Callum's right on the back of Patrick as well. So Callum going to try and go for P7 now.
I was also going to say, Patrick and Sparhawk, they're just going to drop back for the field on those...
yeah. Toxic down the inside of Daniel as well for P5. Callum tried the outside on Patrick and it didn't quite work. So he wasn't able to make the move stick. Trying again, but just doesn't get the mid-speed corner to pull that one off. Does he go for the inside here? He does. Go for a shallow line. Patrick sees it coming and gets the better exit out of the corner, so Callum stays in P8. But yeah, great comeback so far from Toxic to be back up to P5, still on 14 lap old mediums after that spin. Great comeback from him, but at the end of the day, there's such a shame as Callum picks up a time penalty. Gonna try and keep those pretty lows down the inside into the last corner. Patrick offline. Oh, contact! No, Callum's in the wall! Patrick spins around. He's got to make sure that he doesn't cause another incident. I think he's okay, but he's got front wing damage. Does Callum pick up front wing damage for that as well? I think he has. Big front wing damage. Yeah. A disaster for Callum. Oh, wow, yeah, that's massive front wing damage. He's going to have to pit. Yeah. That's going to drop him out of the points. Disaster for Callum. He went for an optimistic move in the last corner. He's tired from the session.
He's given up.
So is Patrick as well. Patrick's also retired.
So that has officially just crowned McCrew the champion.
Surely that has, yeah. With 2 races to go after this one. I'm pretty sure it's 2 races to go after this one. Is that championship over? We'll have to obviously confirm. We'll have to wait and see what we get from obviously the calendar. We'll have to double check the calendar, make sure there are 2 races left. But at this point, it does look like McCrew has secured the championship. That mistake from Patrick and Callum has given the championship win to McCrew. What a bizarre race this has been. Dylan's dropped behind Matty and all that as well. So Matty's up to P2. Dylan really struggling on those softs now. You can see how much understeer he has in the car. Does he pit? No, he stays out.
Actually, I just remembered. There's no 2 rounds left. We have the rerun of the Russian Grand Prix after this.
Wow, there we go then. So a rerun of the Russian Grand Prix. So championship isn't actually done and dusted here. So there we go. Thanks for finding that one out. But we've got the rerun of Russia to come. So that means that championship still continues on to the next race. McCrew obviously not able to score enough points. Well, not able to score any points in this race. So on board with Niels, who's going for a move on Fergal into turn 1. Fergal breaks late. And Niels tries to switch back down the inside. Brilliant move from Niels. He's up through. Oh, Fergal almost spinning on the exit of turn 1 as well. Well held, but Niels up to P13. But yeah, so the championship's still wide open for the next race. But yeah, what a disaster it's been for the top 2 in the championship. Both of them out of the race.
The top 3 as well, actually. Super Gamer M30's out.
Yeah, he is also out of the session as well. So it's been a real disaster for the people in the front of the championship. Wonder what this does for people further down the field. Ghost is relatively close to Super Gamer in the standings, so and he's on for a very good result.
Ghost, if he can keep up his form, he is going to be just a few points behind Callum. So the battle for second in the championship is not over either.
Wow, brilliant stuff! This race is absolutely just blown the championship race wide open at this point. Just having a look at the driver's standings right now, yeah, Ghosts at this point we're putting just a few points behind Callum and Matty as well. He's on for a good result as well. He's 5th currently in the standings. Sparholt could shoot himself into the running for P2 or 3 in the standings here as well with a good result if he's able to hold on to P4 at this point. But yeah, that could actually throw Ghosts. Would that throw Ghosts into a possible championship position as well if he scores enough points? I'm not actually quite sure. With 3 rounds left, So there's 78 points up for grabs. I think he'd still be within the chance of a championship, an outside shot at the championship for Ghosts. Wow,
Yeah, to be similar to how we thought this race would go.
absolutely, yeah. So this could actually throw Ghosts into the championship fight as well. So what a crazy race it's turned out to be. Dylan, I think, is going to try and, by the looks of it, he's trying to take those softs to the end of the race. Aquaplaning sets the fastest lap of the race. He pitted for another set of softs at some point, so he's dropped to the back of the field. By the way, another great recovery drive from Hypes, who spun twice in this race. Yeah, he spun twice in this race, and it was at the back of the field for most of it. He somehow made his way into the top 10. He's going for 8th on Kieran down the straight. He has the DRS as well, so Kieran can't do anything about it. So great recovery drive from Hypes. A similar thing happened in Mexico, actually. He made a mistake midway through the race and dropped towards the back of the field, and then made his way back up to the front. Meanwhile, Toxic
getting past Sparhawk.
Yeah. So Toxic still able to get some good pace out of those mediums, despite them being 17 laps old.
I'm looking at the clouds right now, and they're looking incredibly dark.
I just noticed that myself as well. I just saying where'd the sun go, and it is very dark. Are we going to get a little rain shower towards the end of this race? Will it come quick enough for the rain to actually fall? But like you said, it is starting to be very dark, so it is possible.
I mean, if it comes, I think we're going to get a similar situation to what we had at the start of quali.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a bit of, just to throw a bit more chaos into this race. I think it will be crazy if we get some rain at this point.
I think Sparhawk and Toxic are praying that the rain doesn't come.
I think Dylan similar as well.
Can't
Yeah.
be that good, is it?
Yeah.
Can't be that good.
No, absolutely. I think the likes of Kieran, Toxic, Sparhawk, and Dylan will all be praying there isn't one. As Kieran actually, as we say, he's spun and he's hit the wall by the looks of things as well. So I think that's him. Yeah, that's him out of the points at this point. That's such a shame for Kieran. He tried the alternate strategy, tried to go for the one stop and stick it out, and unfortunately the tyres just haven't held up for him. And Max has actually spun in front of them as well, so Max has spun and hit the wall. So that's another retirement from this race. So looking through the field now, it's kind of split up a little bit. The field's starting to spread out a bit more now as kind of the tyre strategies come into play and everyone starts to lose pace or gain pace on their tyres. Matty at this point not able to close in on Ghost, so at this point the top two look pretty much set in stone. It's all to play for though for P3. Toxic is absolutely flying compared to Dylan. So Toxic, despite spinning at the safety car restart from the late race lead, is still on for a possible podium.
Yeah, we got to remember though, Toxic, he has picked up 2 pens. I'm not sure if Dylan's picked up any.
I think Dylan's picked up a couple as well, but from my memory, I don't think Sparhawk's. I haven't seen Sparhawk pick one up unless he's picked one up out of sight. Matty just picks up a time penalty as we say that as well. On board with Dylan. Wow, he is really struggling on those softs. The understeer in that car is crazy. He's got to be within puncture territory by now. 12 laps on the softs. You surely can't take those another 3.5 laps.
He is really going to be skating on a thin wire coming to the end of this race.
Absolutely, yeah. Kieran's, by the way, is pitted to replace his front wing and put some softs on, so he might be going for a fastest lap of the race. Here goes Toxic, though, down the inside of Dylan for P3. And there's not really any contest there. Dylan can't really do anything about it, so the running man back into the podium positions at this point, despite spinning on the safety car restart from the race lead. So, good recovery from him. Speaking of other recovery... Yeah, Hypes up to P7, so brilliant stuff from him as well to make his way back up into the points. So there's a big gap in front of Hypes now to Daniel in P6, so I wonder if he can close that gap down or whether P7's the max that he can get at this point. Also got Toothy Danny behind the RMK, so the 2 McLarens and the 2 Williams really fighting it out at this point.
Sure, interestingly enough, I'm also starting to look now at Daniel possibly getting a podium.
Absolutely, yeah, because he's, like you said, yeah, that is definitely something to consider. He's not far off the back of Sparhawk and Dylan. Sparhawk's now starting to catch Dylan on those softs. He's just started to plummet through the field. Dylan picks up another time penalty as we say that as well, so that's also going to drop in places. So yeah, Dylan's Daniel's going to be one to watch out for.
Looks like Sparholt is going to catch up to Dylan at the perfect moment where you can just get past with DRS.
Absolutely, I think the effects of tyre wear around this track are so evident in the first sector, and then as soon as the first sector and the second sector starts, that's the overtaking position. So Dylan defends it though, right to the inside of the track, so Sparholt's going to have to go for the outside. Does he go for a switchback move? Yeah, Dylan's braked far too late for the hairpin and he's completely gone straight on, so Sparholt should make that move stick, and he does. So Sparholt back up to P4 on those hards. So despite the hards definitely not being the best race tyre, they've definitely been the slower tyre here. Sparholt has done an incredibly good job to be on 20 lap old hards and to hold on to P4. Looking now as Aquapanning's just picked up a time penalty himself. Okay, so on board with Daniel now down the pit straight, so he's next to try and pass Dylan. I think after Daniel, if Dylan's able to not get a puncture, I think at this point, if penalties aren't something to consider, P6 on the road is safe for Dylan at this point. So because there is a big gap back to Hypes in 7th, but obviously penalties are going to come into effect. Daniel a little bit wide of the apex to the S section, so he's not quite able to get to as close to Dylan as possible. But yeah, Dylan really struggling. Hypes picks up a time penalty. Just look at how Dylan is all over the road at this point. That soft tyre strategy really hasn't worked out for him.
I mean, it kind of did for Dylan, to be honest.
I mean, actually, just thinking about it, yeah. If he's able to keep the tyres in check towards the end of the race, it has kind of worked out, because he is still on for a P6 and he was plumb last at the end of lap 1 after a spin, so it has kind of worked for him, but it all depends whether he can keep those soft tyres from puncturing before the end of the race, because they are going to be absolutely dead at this point. We have to
see that time to Hypes absolutely fly down now.
Absolutely, yeah. It was already gone a second in about 4 corners, so we'll have to keep an eye on how quickly he can catch him. 6.2, wow, just through the long right-hander, Hypes gains around 0.6 of a second on Dylan, so
5.9.
Hypes could actually catch Dylan before the end of the last lap if he gets a good lap in, so that's going to be something to watch out for as well. Meanwhile, top 3, we come on to the final lap. This last part of this race is absolutely flying by, and Ghost still leads by about 4.9 seconds at this point. Ghost and Matty, relatively similar place, but Ghost has looked pretty strong for about the entire race. If it wasn't Toxic winning, it was definitely going to be Ghost at this point. So, see what he can see as we come to the end of the race. Daniel close to Sparholt, not quite close enough for P4. Just looking at the gap between Dylan and Hypes as well, down to 4.6 seconds. Wow, I don't think Hypes is quite going to catch him, but the pace difference between the two of them is insane at this point. Oh, as I say that, on board with Dylan. Dylan's got a puncture.
Oh,
front left puncture.
That's it, but
that surely Hypes through now at this point. That's such a shame on the last lap for Dylan to get a puncture. It almost paid off for him, but wasn't quite able to take it to the end. Luckily, it's not a rear puncture. Yeah, on board with Ghost then, round the final corner, and Ghost is going to win the US Grand Prix by a good, comfortable margin. Brilliant result from Ghosts, and he throws himself into championship contention for the last 3 rounds. Matty crosses the line in P2. My drive of the day, though, for Matty, from P16 on the grid up to P2. Brilliant result from him. Toxic recovers to P3 after that spin behind the safety car. Sparholt's going to cross the line. He nicks the podium by 0.6 of a second off Toxic. So 23 laps on old hard tyres, and Sparholt remains on the podium. Hypes up to 6th. Dylan crosses the line. He drops to 8th.
J. Luke gets 6th.
Yeah, J. Luke takes 6th from Hypes. Danny up to 8th. Dylan down to 9th. And MK takes the final points. But Nils jumps into P8 though. 11th across the line, and he's taken P8. So that drops MK out of the points, and Dylan down to 10th. So it's now just Aquapanning and Kieran who are are waiting to finish this race. But yeah, this race was prime opportunity again for, like you said earlier on, for Merc to take points off Red Bull in the standings. And at the end of the day, it just didn't happen for them. Just the 1 point, it didn't happen. So a race where the top of the pack definitely the top of the championship standings and the top of the manufacturers definitely had a poor showing here today as Aquaplaning spins across the line. Should we just wait for Kieran? Kieran's actually spun and lost his front wing and he's retired on the last lap, which is such a shame. But there we go. That was the US Grand Prix. Wow. Been out of breath after that one. I have to have a lie down. That was that was a crazy race from start to finish.
Just looking at Marty and Ghost's points game, but Marty is now 1 point behind Super Gamer.
Oof.
For fourth place, and Ghost with 25 points in the back. They're 10 points behind Callum right now.
Wow. So that has thrown him right into contention for this last one. Obviously, the top two in the championship not scoring today. Really poor shame from McCrew and Callum today. It's such a shame for them. Hopefully they can bounce back well next time out. But let's run you through the top 10 then. So here are the points finishes for everyone. So Ghost wins the race ahead of Matty. Sparholt in third without a penalty. Good stuff from Sparholt. Toxic takes P4 after a spin behind the safety car from the lead. Daniel takes P5 in the end ahead of J. Luke, who jumps up to 6th ahead of Hypes. Great recovery from Hypes up to P7. Niels takes 8th with no penalties as well, so good stuff from him. Ahead of Toothy Danny in 9th, and Dylan rounds out the top 10. Wow, what a crazy race. So who do you think your driver of the day is, though, Ivor?
I've got to give it to Matty. 16th up to 2nd.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd have to say the same. Matty, a really, really, really good result. Well driven race, nice and clean. And yeah, comes home with P2, so great stuff from Matty.
However, I think Callum is going to look back at this race and think massive opportunity missed.
Absolutely, yeah. I think this was prime opportunity for Callum to really put stamp his authority and really try and challenge McCrew for the standings. But McCrew kind of a really poor showing from McCrew in qualifying and the race, and he got away with it really with Callum not scoring. So McCrew lives to survive another day, and he's got a really good chance of winning the championship next time out.
Yep,
yeah.
No, I remember that we actually are going to be winning Russia.
Well, the points that we explained at the start of the stream, just transfer that to the next stream. We'll just cut that bit into there.
We'll just add J Ghost into the battle as well.
Yeah, we have to, absolutely. But at this point, McCrew at the end of the next event needs a 53 point lead at the end of the next event to win the championship next time out. So that's what we have to look forward to next time out. So that's where we're going to end it, everyone. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in for the Intelligence Racing League for round 19. It's been a brilliant race, and thank you Ivor for commentating alongside me. Thank you for joining me today.
Worries.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for all your comments and everything. Remember to subscribe to the channel as well, and tap the bell notification as well, so that you know when we go live. We go live every Saturday at 2 PM UK time. So thank you everyone for tuning, and we will see you next time out. Goodbye.